What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're looking at one of the biggest predictions I've made for Stepford County Railway. Before we begin, remember that this is only my opinion and not official information from the developers. With that out of the way, let's talk about why I think mesh tracks could be one of the next major visual upgrades. Over the past few years, SCR has changed dramatically. We've seen rebuilt stations, upgraded scenery, improved train models, and countless visual improvements. Because the developers have spent so much time modernizing the game, I think it's possible they'll eventually turn their attention to the tracks themselves. The current tracks work perfectly well, but compared to the newer parts of the map, they can sometimes look a little outdated. That's why I believe mesh tracks would be a natural next step. More detailed rails, realistic sleepers, and improved ballast could make every railway line feel much more immersive. I don't think this would happen all at once. My prediction is that mesh tracks would arrive in stages, starting with newly rebuilt areas or major stations before slowly expanding across the rest of the network. That would make the update easier to test while keeping performance stable. Another reason I think this could happen is because almost every major SCR update improves the game's appearance in some way. The developers clearly care about visual quality, and replacing older track models would help bring the entire railway up to the same modern standard. Imagine driving an express service at high speed over beautifully modeled rails, with smoother curves and detailed junctions stretching into the distance. Even though the gameplay might stay the same, the experience could feel completely different simply because of the improved atmosphere. Of course, this is still just a prediction. The developers might decide to focus on new trains, routes, signaling improvements, or station rebuilds instead. Until we hear something official, nobody knows exactly what the future holds for Stepford County Railway. Personally, I think mesh tracks are a matter of when, not if. Whether they arrive next year or much later, they have the potential to become one of the biggest graphical upgrades the game has ever seen. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see if this prediction becomes reality. One thing that makes this prediction interesting is how much the game has improved over the years. If you compare older versions of SCR to today's version, it's easy to see how much effort has gone into making the railway feel more realistic. That's why I think the tracks could eventually receive the same level of attention. Mesh tracks wouldn't just improve how the rails look. They could also make stations, bridges, tunnels, and open countryside feel more connected. Every journey across the network could look cleaner and more polished, giving players an even better driving X. I also think the developers would take their time if they ever worked on this feature. Since the railway network is so large, replacing every section of track would probably be one of the biggest projects they've ever completed. Performance would be another important factor. The developers would want to make sure that detailed tracks still run smoothly on a wide range of devices. That's why optimization would likely be just as important as the visual improvements. It's also possible that mesh tracks could arrive alongside another major update. Imagine seeing a new station rebuild, a new train, and completely redesigned tracks all in the same update. That would certainly make for an exciting release. Of course, there are plenty of other features the community wants as well. New routes, additional trains, signaling improvements, and gameplay changes could all take priority. That's why this remains only a prediction and nothing more. If mesh tracks do arrive, I think they'll become one of those upgrades that players quickly get used to. After a while, it would probably be hard to imagine the game without them because they'd blend naturally into the rest of the modern graphics. For content creators, this update could be especially exciting. Better-looking tracks would make cinematic videos, screenshots, and roleplay sessions even more realistic, giving everyone new ways to enjoy the game. Even if this prediction doesn't happen soon, I still believe it's something the developers could consider in the future. SCR has always continued to grow, and visual improvements have been a big part of that journey. As always, it's important not to mistake predictions for leaks or official announcements. Until the developers confirm something themselves, everything discussed here is simply speculation based on the direction the game has taken. I'd love to know what you think. Do you believe mesh tracks are coming in a future update, or do you think the developers have something completely different planned? Let me know your predictions in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this prediction, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe for more Stepford County Railway content, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.